Hey pal, I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have Brandon Como assisting me on the boards. Again, we're still learning the boards. So he's in here with me this week, joining me. It is the first day of spring, but I'm a little confused because the sun and shininess outside tells me that it's spring, but the cold weather tells me that it's cold and it's still fall.
It's because our weather doesn't know exactly what it wants to do. I'm just thankful that it's not raining.
Exactly. Me too. I will take the cold over rain any day.
Exactly.
I saw a lot of people post this week and today especially that it was the last call for gumbo. When do you stop making gumbo?
That's a year-round thing. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
you
I don't
make
care
it
if it's
year-round?
in the dead of summer. It's gumbo's good year-round. Now, for me today, me and my fiance had to have some crawfish.
Oh,
First time having
I've
boiled
been
crawfish
seeing
of the
that.
season. Yeah, it was so good.
So gumbo season fades into crawfish season.
No.
No,
Gumbo
you're like
never
gumbo's every
fades.
year. You're like,
Gumbo
I eat it year
never
round.
ever fades. That's what I tell my mom. Like, my mom makes a mean seafood gumbo, like the best, and I'm a little partial, but the best I've ever had. So for her, she made the comment last year. She was like, "Well, I'm gonna make some for you and your fiance, and we're gonna have some for Christmas." I said, "Mom, it's like August. Make it now." She's like, "If it's too hot." No. Seafood gumbo is always good. It doesn't matter if it's 120 degrees outside. We'll just turn the AC up higher if we have to.
Wow. I don't know. I'm a first cold snap is when the first gumbo comes out. And I think I'm going to have to say fall, no more gumbo. That's
no more gumbo in the fall or
I'm
after
sorry,
fall?
spring.
Oh,
no more gumbo in the spring.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to have
Why?
to call it.
Why would you limit yourself?
Because it's kind of hot. And it's weird for me too because I'm such a soup person and I'll eat soup year round. And the same thing with my coffee. Like I never drink iced coffees. I always drink hot coffees, hot tea. But it's kind of warm, and I have to be in like that comforting mode and mood to want the warmth of a gumbo.
So that begs the question for me: if you're gonna say, "Hey, gumbo's good here, but not good here," but you're good with soup, what about bisque?
See, I'm not a big bisque person.
You're not a big bisque person?
No, I mean I'll eat bisque if I'm at a restaurant, I guess, and it's part of the meal. But I never look on a menu and like, ooh, I would like to order the bisque.
I do that I do it as a side. Like I never do it as a main dish, but I'll do a little cup on the side.
I've heard you talk about bisque before.
I love bisque.
I think you're a bisque person. Yeah.
She over there, my fiance is like, she can make a mean crawfish bisque. I'll give her some credit.
The word of the day is my fiance.
Yeah, I know.
Because you've
I'm
said
sorry,
it 8
3 times. I know,
Brandon
my bad.
is getting married. Congratulations, Brandon. We are super excited for you.
I know. For y'all that are listening out there, and you've heard me say it 3 times.
I'm just picking on you.
Don't give me too much of a hard time. I'm sorry.
It's been a big food week, and it's continuing into next week, food-wise. Monday, the latest Pig and Plow supper happened, and it was probably the most beautiful. It was at Brookshire Farms in Abbeville.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Gorgeous setting, beautiful home, and it was a lot of foraged flora and meat.
Yeah.
So it was always nice. Had cow tongue, I think for the first time, actually. Which is kind of surprising with some of the things that what I've eaten, that would be the first time that I've eaten it. But I think that was my first cow tongue.
Moon Griffon spoiled me on cow tongue. Like I will never
Really?
try it because he told me the story about how, and he loves eating cow tongue. He went, got him some cow tongue, and wanted to play a little joke on his wife. So I went up behind her, and he put the cow tongue on her neck, and he made the slurping
that's so
sound.
Weird.
Freaked her out, and I said,
and so now you're
"Dude,
like, no, I don't want to eat it.
Nah, I don't. Although with that being said, I grew up eating cowboys too, so I had whatever parts of the cow were thrown in already. Right? So
man, it was delicious.
But I would never knowingly eat it.
I loved it. It was so good. Jeremy Connor is going to be one of the guests later in the show. And we're going to talk about the next Pig and Plow because I'm excited because one of the chefs is from Haiti.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to get to interview her for one of the upcoming shows.
Sweet.
And we're going to talk about Haitian cuisine and how, it parallels the food that we eat here.
Yeah, Jeremy makes me feel short. And I'm like 6'2".
He's a tall guy.
Yeah, he's a tall dude.
But yeah, I'm excited to have them on later to talk about all of that. And then St. Patrick's Day happened this week.
I saw you got the green on.
Right. I actually wore this for St. Patrick's Day. I was invited to a St. Patrick's Day themed dinner party, and everyone wore green. And I wrote the column that I wrote this week for the Times of Acadiana it was called Celtic-ish.
Okay.
It was Irish foods that you can find here in Acadiana. They're not quite Irish, but you can kind of see where the roots go. And when I was doing the research, it was really interesting. Irish and Cajun are very similar. I mean, they learned to live off of the land and what was readily available to them. We have rice here. They had potatoes. They also ate every single inch of the animal, like they do here. And then also blood pudding is our blood boudin. So
wait, blood pudding?
It's called blood pudding, and it's basically boudin, but instead of using rice, they use barley and oats. Yeah.
So have you tasted it?
I've never had it.
Okay.
I've never had it.
That's not a very appetizing sounding name.
No,
though.
it's good. I mean, if you like boudin, you will like it.
Okay.
It's. I mean, they're pretty much
okay.
The same thing.
So you got me a little intrigued since we're still on the Irish theme here. You're talking about Irish foods here in Acadiana. Like, so what do we have here that's available for us?
Okay, so we don't have a lot of Irish food. So the blood boudin, the blood pudding was probably the most similar.
Okay.
I think in the article I put shepherd's pie, which is kind of English, but Irish do a lot of stews.
Okay.
And then they have something called a cold cannon, and I probably butchered that name, which is basically it's a mashed potato that has scallions in it.
Okay.
So I mentioned the Jefferson Street pub shepherd's pie that they have there because I really like it, and it has the mashed potatoes, cheesy mashed potatoes on top. So that's similar. Scottish eggs. Again, are kind of English in nature, and what that is it's a boiled egg wrapped in sausage and then deep fried. The trick is to get the egg not super hard when you go into it, and Ashley Roussel at St. Strinden has kind of perfected the art of still getting it's not quite runny, but it's almost, so it's close. And that is similar to some dishes that they have in Ireland as well. And then I went to this Irish themed dinner, and they went over the top. Alan Higginbotham, who was actually a guest co-host on the radio show before, has been dying to cook for me. And so he invited me. He was one of the people cooking at the dinner. And we had corned beef and cabbage sliders. They did a beer and cheese spread that you just it was a dip. And then they did these little toasts with salmon. It was like salmon toast, and it had dill on it. I do not like salmon at all. These were great. I think it had to do with the mass amount of butter that was also slathered on the bread with the Dijon mustard. And then they did this apple and tasso dish. They did a lamb and Guinness stew, and they served it with soda bread. Irish soda bread is bread in Ireland because yeast didn't do well there, so they used sodium bicarbonate instead of yeast to do their bread there. And that was another one that I had mentioned on the list. Great Harvest does theirs with raisins. They do a sweet version, but traditionally it's kind of a bread that you would use to sop up gravy with.
Yeah, Great Harvest, they'll come by every couple of weeks and bring some bread here to Town Square Media during the week.
Yeah.
It's so good.
God, it's good stuff. Good. Okay, we are going to take our first break, and when we come back, we have more with Brandon. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and joining us is Brandon Como. We've been talking food. Costco development. Costco opened this past week. I've heard it's been a little nuts. A lot of the restaurants are about to start opening up as well. Chewy's is opening tomorrow night. We were just talking about during the break that we're going to Chewy's.
It's gonna be fun tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to the margaritas and the nachos. They have really good nachos.
The nacho
and
bar is what I can't wait for.
Oh, because you didn't get to go to the sneak peek.
No, I didn't.
And try the nachos out. The nachos are good. And
okay, so what sets them apart now?
They have this jalapeno ranch dressing that goes on it.
You sold me. All
yeah.
right.
I kind of felt like I sold my soul for those nachos because I'm so anti-chain.
Yeah.
And I really like those nachos. The nachos and the margaritas I'm excited about. And I think we're actually going to be at the restaurant at the same time.
Oh, yeah, we will
be.
I mean, we're both be there for, tomorrow night.
Blaze Pizza is supposed to also be opening next week as well.
What is not opening in that area?
I don't...
That's amazing.
Trader Joe's is not opening.
No, it's amazing. That whole area by Kali Saloon, Ambassador Caffrey, I mean, there is so much happening in that area. It's unbelievable.
So coincidentally, I was online, and one of the online food magazines that I look at was ranking the Costco food items. And look, I don't like chains.
Okay.
But I used to shop at Sam's whenever I was married, and it wasn't just me. Having a membership right now with just me buying like 80 pounds of toilet paper just doesn't really seem, really great. However, I do miss the food court, and the Sam's and Costco are pretty much the same. Although I've been told the Costco one is better. So they have $1.50 giant hot dogs and giant sodas, and they also have giant pizza by the slice, and then you can also order a pizza for like $12. But I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna order a whole pizza and it's a Thursday through Saturday, go get a pizza at Bread and Circus because that pizza is way better. I mean, it's a good pizza, but for $12, go buy a Bread and Circus pizza. But the best thing of all is you don't have to have a membership to eat at the food court at Costco.
Really?
And apparently
That's good to know.
Sam's told me that too.
Okay.
Now, I posted this article on the Lafayette Food Junkie Facebook page, and one of my followers mentioned that, no, you do, but some of the other followers that were in the know said, no, if you don't have a membership, you just go through the exit and just go to the food court.
That's really good
now,
to
I
know.
do know, I've heard that the Costco is letting people go in for free and kind of browse around. Have you been yet?
I have not been yet.
I mean, I just kind of want to see what's in the store.
Yeah.
I saw someone post a almost $5,000 bottle of scotch that's in the Costco in Lafayette.
Yeah.
And I want to know who's going to buy that in Lafayette.
Well, we have plenty of people who could buy that in Lafayette.
A $5,000 bottle of scotch.
We've got very wealthy people
I
here in
wonder,
Lafayette.
it's rumored that they sell coffins. And I also want to see if the's coffins in the store.
They sell engagement rings too.
Engagement rings. I knew the engagement rings. Engagement rings, coffins, 20-gallon vats of olive oil. I've heard that they have really good meats and cheeses at Costco.
If you go to our website, kpl965.com, we put pictures up last week as kind of a sneak peek type of thing. So we've got some pictures on the website. If you're listening and you hadn't been yet, want to see what's kind of going on in there, you can go check it out there.
Wow. So someone went on a tour and checked it out?
Yeah, somebody from our sister station, ESPN 1420, actually went out there and took some pictures for us, and we put it all together.
So much is coming up over there. I was talking about that earlier today. I mean, I feel like there's 10 restaurants in that one area, and we were kind of talking about, do we have enough people in Lafayette to be able to...
I hate to be like the wet blanket. The thing that worries me is the traffic.
Well, and I was worried about that too, but I did see that they have some stop signs up. I'm sorry, not stop signs, stop lights.
Well, and that's good, but the thing that I worry about is the traffic.
And I live on that side of town.
I do too. I live 5 minutes away from that whole area.
Right.
So my only concern is, what's traffic going to look like a year or 2 years from now?
Right.
In that area with all of that extra development there.
And we're already so congested. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I know they have like a ton other food places coming to that little development.
Yeah.
And I've been on so many rants about how I feel about them, but
and then you take that into effect, and you have all the other food places that have already been pretty well established on the other side of Kali Saloon. I mean, you've got so much choices, it's unbelievable now.
Yeah. It's almost like we need like a dining guide for Lafayette.
You really do.
Like an Urban Spoon. But Urban Spoon used to have this really cool feature. It was called like food roulette. And you would put in like what you were in the mood for, the price range, or you didn't even have to do all that. Like you could put in different things to narrow it down, or you could just do like roulette, and it would bring up a restaurant, and you know, tell you everything that there is to know about. I don't even think Urban Spoon isn't around anymore. They changed the name to something else. Yeah. But that's cool. We need that for Lafayette. Or people just private message me and I tell them where to eat. Too.
That's me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You do it a lot. Well, I was thinking about it today that Mark Whitney, who's a barista at Rev Coffee, is my coffee go-to person, because I always harass him with coffee questions. And I recently decided to dump my Keurig.
Yeah.
Just because the little pods are so expensive, and there's all these articles coming out now about how bad they are for the environment, and you know, how they're trying to get people to go away from it. And I even started using like grinding my own coffee and putting my own coffee in there, and it just never gets it right. Like half of the grinds are in my coffee. It doesn't fill it up all the way. Like it never makes it right. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out and get a French press. And it's a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be, because I haven't gotten it right yet. Apparently the type of coffee grinds, because I had bought these coffee beans from Alabama. I had brought them back from Alabama from this place that I had went to there, and it was too light of a roast for a French press. He was like, no, you need to, you know, put that one in a coffee maker. So to kind of counter it, I was doubling the doses. Well, now I'm out of it, and I went back to community coffee, and we all know how strong community coffee is. And I haven't been sleeping well lately, and I think that it's because I've been ingesting so much caffeine. Like I feel a little jittery, and like my arms were shaking a little bit. Like I think I'm putting now too much coffee in the French press, but I'll get it. It's, you know, it's a science. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make it work. And I think I'm gonna end up getting like a little $10 like 4-cup Mr. Coffee or something, instead of this big ginormous Keurig. How do you even drink coffee? Like, are you a coffie person?
I'm more of a cappuccino person.
Oh, do you have a cappuccino machine at your home?
Yes.
Is it on the gift registry?
No, not the gift registry. But yeah, the Keurig. I love the Keurig.
Yeah, it's
I'm
nice.
all about it. Yeah, I like the cappuccino. Just put that thing in, just makes it for me, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Paige Tate over at Dark Roux. She's a great bartender, and she recently changed out the cocktail menu at Dark Roux, and she's made it very heavy on the whiskey, and we all know how much I love whiskey. She has a new one called Girls and Cigars that has whiskey. It has like a blueberry shrub in it, and it's not too sweet. It's not, you know, too much on the whiskey taste. It's kind of straight down the middle. So it's really nice. So if you're not like a huge whiskey lover, you would still probably like this cocktail.
Okay.
And then they did another one. It was called like Blood Moon Rising, and it had Jameson. And I can't remember the other stuff that was in it. I just remember that it had Jameson. Speaking of Jameson, because it was an Irish themed party, I think everyone brought a bottle of Jameson, and there was like 10 bottles of Jameson at that Irish party that I went to. It was a whiskey party with the amount of whiskey that was there. But great cocktail menu over there. Have you been to Dark Roux?
I have not been yet.
You need to check it out. You need to check it out. Go for like brunch or lunch. They have this burger that I've been wanting to try. Okay. Oh, and I have to mention the nitro cookies and milk.
Wait, what?
Yes. Okay, so Ryan Trahan is doing cookies and milk, but it's a science experiment, cookies and milk. Okay. So the way it comes out to you is really cool. You get your glass of milk, and it's made with nitrous. So it's frozen. It's got all the smoke coming out of it. Okay. And then you have a little cookie jar on the side to get your cookies out to dip in the milk. Yeah.
Wow.
It's your after school snack kicked up a notch.
Are they open on Sundays?
They are, actually.
Till how late?
I think they're open till 9.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I might have to go check it out.
You have to go check it out.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
All right. We are going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll have Stephen Verret and Jeremy Connor. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and joining me now in the studio is Stephen Verret and Jeremy Connor, who are with Olympic Grove Beer Garden and Cellar Salt Company. They're in the studio to kind of talk about how laws kind of haven't caught up with supply and demand, and how they're kind of learning as they go and educating the lawmakers, I guess, as they go. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Stephen, we're going to start with you. How did the concept for the beer gardens come about?
Basically, I lived in Los Angeles for 2.5 years, and really enjoyed being outside a lot there, and a lot of beer gardens out there, and a lot of breweries, and a lot of fun yard games, and pizza by the slide, all these things that I just saw that we were lacking here in Lafayette. And, moved back, I guess, 3 years ago, and just started immediately thinking, like, well, what can I do here that we're missing? And I kind of put it all together and made one thing. So then approached this guy, Jeremy. And he's the king of pizza right now, I think, for me.
So how many pop-ups did you get under your belt?
We did two. Two so far, yeah.
Okay.
And then first one with pizza, second one without, and then now we're kind of stuck and about to do the trailer thing right now.
So I went to the first one, and I think the biggest thing that I noticed was kid-friendly.
Yeah.
Which a lot of with the late night pop-ups and everything, they're not really kid-friendly. There was kids running around. There was the games. There was, beer, cocktails for me since I'm not a beer drinker. Pizza. It was really sociable, nice outside weather. I mean, right now we're having the perfect weather for this kind of event. And so what happened?
First of all, kid-friendly and dog-friendly. We want to bring that up because we really do enjoy having the dogs there. What happened basically is we kind of just got a phone call after the first one saying, we can't serve food the way we were serving it, which was under a tent just like you would at a festival. We
How do you think that they...
we started getting basically newspaper articles,
social media,
and a lot of just heavy traffic about what we were doing, which is awesome. I mean, it's fantastic. It's
kind of like a double-edged sword. Yeah. We were talking about that before the show. You want the promotion, to be able to promote your event, but at the same time, who's reading it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of it is what it is, I guess. I'm happy to have had great friends write great articles about what we're doing and get all the publicity we've got. I mean, whether it's getting us contacted by the health board or not, it doesn't matter, because right now we're feeling good because so many people love it and want it to keep happening, and so we just hit a bump in the road, and we're gonna push through it, I think, and do better, I think.
So after the first one, you got the phone call and they told you that you had to be enclosed.
Right, yeah, for the food, just like a food truck. They said if we want to do it, either we have to build a building, which requires you have bathrooms and plumbing and a whole bunch of money basically, or we do mobile route and have a food truck. So we looked into borrowing a friend's food truck, and it didn't work out, and so we ended up hiring one live action deli to come in and do it, and then actually Taco Sister stopped by for a little while too. But then once we went to approach the health board about doing how do we get our pizza trailer, kind of figure that out. Then they brought up just asking us how we were serving alcohol, which ended up coming to it. We have to be in the trailer for that as well. So, pretty much we're kind of stuck there.
And you started a GoFundMe account to kind of raise money for, to build the trailer. How's that going, and how can people go to donate to that?
It's going great. We're at about a little bit over $1,300 right now. You can go to GoFundMe.com/Olympic Grove, and all the information's there and what you kind of need to know. There's some packages, incentive packages, and things like that. But that's going great. We did that because people seem to want to help, and how can they help? How can they support us, and how can they make this thing keep going? And so we got a couple friends that said, why don't you just start a GoFundMe? Because if anything, people can give $20, $10, whatever, whatever money will help. It helps tremendously. So we did it. And so it's been going great, and everyone is very supportive. And whether it's if you can't donate, share it. Just get it to all your friends, because I may not know everybody. Although sometimes I feel like I do, but yeah. So it's going great. I'm really enjoying it, and it's so positive.
Do y'all have a goal to open back up at a certain time in the same space? Like, is it going to be in the same space?
Same space for the first event we come back. Yeah, we have that on lease for a little while longer, and but we're still going to go throughout the city. I mean, even during 1 month, we may not between the first one there and then another one being there. We may have had another one somewhere else. We plan on using this trailer. It's mobile, so let's go. Let's go around and do it. But I'm building the whole trailer. Well, me and a couple friends are gonna build the whole trailer ourselves. So we're shooting for a month. I think we can do it. I work full time, so after hours and weekends are gonna be kind of the thing. But we're shooting for hopefully end of April, beginning of May. So it's gonna be a rush, but it's gonna be fun.
And in the meantime, you guys are gonna be at the farmers market starting next Saturday. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it was kind of a Jeremy and one of our friends, JD Regard, kind of talked about it, and they were just like, why aren't we doing it at the farmers market? And we couldn't figure out a reason why not. So Jeremy's already there selling Cellar salt right now. So he's gonna have a little. It'll
be a nice fit, minus the beer, right?
Right. Yeah. No alcohol. Yeah. It's gonna be yard games and pizza.
Yeah. So that's gonna be cool, and I'm assuming that's gonna help raise funds for the trailer as well.
Exactly. So any money we make from that is gonna, we'll figure out the costs and everything, and then, we're gonna put that towards hopefully making some stuff happen, and hope, getting the next. I don't know how many times a month we're gonna do it at the farmers market, but we'll put it towards that too. And then I will have a donation bucket there for if people want to just drop in some cash or business card if they have anything they can help us with or whatever, there. So
what are some of the games that you guys have, just so people can kind of get familiar with it?
We have bags with cornhole. People call it two different things. And then we have horseshoes, washerboard, giant Jenga, which is a real big hit with the kids, and adults actually too. But that's pretty much what we're doing now. We have some board games that we'll bring out with some giant dominoes and checkerboards and Cards Against Humanity and things like that we usually give out and let people play that as well.
How complicated do you think that these laws are to kind of go through and figure out?
I mean, pretty complicated for me. I mean, it's just some things are confusing. They're worded weird and they don't certainly apply to what we're doing. Like, that's the problem. That's what it was. We're trying to
It's where do you fit in the laws that are there?
Exactly. And that was kind of we kind of fell under that. Just where do we go? We were lost in the laws, and so we didn't know what to do, but we did what we could, and now we're pretty much having to do the mobile bar. So our mobile pizza truck too. Same thing.
And with that whole theme of where do you fit and the law brings Jeremy Connor with the Cellar Salt Company. You guys actually just were able to start selling in stores, correct?
That's correct.
And what has that process been like?
Well, when you start making a product at your house that you want to sell to people, the farmers market is the first sort of retail outlet that you would make a stop at, and we got great response at the farmers market when we started selling salt, and then we had seen some other people making products, sell them at stores on consignment, thinking that we're not actually wholesaling, we're making the sale at the store gets a cut for essentially the space that we're selling out of. And the health department frowned on that, saying that it gave the impression that the product was manufactured in a licensed facility. So we stopped doing that and pursued the actual food manufacturer's license. And so a couple weeks back, we were able to obtain that. And so now we manufacture in a licensed facility, an inspected facility, with the Food and Drug Unit of the Department of Health and Hospitals.
That sounds like the biggest process ever. And from talking to you, you seem very well versed in the law, but you also have a background. I mean, you were an executive chef at Village Cafe, so you kind of know how the Board of Health works. How does a restaurant kitchen Board of Health laws work as it goes to your home business and starting the business? Like how are the laws different, the same? Are they?
Well, to be a food manufacturer, you're making a product that can then be sold for resale. So essentially, I can sell my salt to retailers and they can sell it again. So that wholesale aspect is what makes it different than what someone would make out of their house, or from what even a restaurant, an inspected, licensed restaurant would be able to do. Even restaurants that have commercial kitchens that are inspected by that department are not able to wholesale their products unless they have a food manufacturing license. And depending on what type of product it is that is being made, there are differing sets of regulations. Dairy and meats are especially stringent, and so we're essentially a spice. And so at that point, we just worked with the people in that department to take the steps necessary to operate in a licensed facility.
All right, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we have more with Jeremy and Steven. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and we've been talking with Steven Verret with the Olympic Grove Beer Garden and Jeremy Connor with Cellar Salt. And okay, so we were talking about the laws. And I know that I've had a conversation with a friend who sells at the farmer's market before, and I'm confused. The whole concept of being able to sell at the farmer's market, sell at festivals, and sell in stores. And this is where the confusion kind of starts. So explain that a little bit.
So if you want to make, there are two separate things that we're talking about here, really. One is someone that wants to make a food product and then sell it to people. And so you can do that. You can make a food product out of your house under what's called the cottage food law. And so you can sell a product to people either at farmers markets or actually out of your house. And you're able to have gross sales of up to $20,000 per year. That does not allow for wholesale, and there are certain types of goods that you're able to make. It excludes, meat products and some other things. The other thing that we're talking about is the serving of hot food. And so, you look at, here in Louisiana, we like festivals, and we like to go to festivals, and you see all different kinds of things, barbecue pit trailers and things like that are sort of open air things. And so when Steven approached me with the Olympic Grove idea, he had a really clear vision of what he wanted to do. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to work with him. And so he had this vision of, open air beer garden, yard games, essentially like pop-up neighborhood block party, which is exactly
pretty
the
much
feel
what it
that you
was.
get. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, he nailed it. He nailed it on the vision, and it's great. It's just that we did not have the right sort of, we weren't under the right set of laws. And so when you go to a festival and people are serving food that way without an enclosed mobile kitchen and things like that, that's because that's okay to do in that instance, because it's a festival, and a recognized festival in the state of Louisiana that is also approved by the local municipal, whether it be city, parish, council, or whatever local municipal body, is essentially out of the jurisdiction of the Department of Health and Hospitals. And so the Department of Health and Hospitals can't go and say, you don't have a screened-in area, you don't have this, we can't stop you from doing this.
Right.
That's interesting. Okay.
But Olympic Grove was not a recognized festival. And so that's why we're gonna build this trailer and operate within the law. And it's actually, some might view that as a hindrance, but I think that just as Steven has implemented his vision for the project overall in the first place, he has a really great thing up his sleeve as far as how the mobile unit will be implemented. And I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with how that appears.
Yeah, because you guys are going to be doing some different things than what you've been doing before, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to start doing any kind of festivals, any kind of weddings, private parties. We're going to basically just be completely mobile beer garden now, so you can hire us to do
that'll be cool.
your birthday
Yeah,
or
for
your
different
wedding
events and
or
things. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're having to build this trailer. We're not going to just do it once a month, or we're not going to just do it. It's going to become like we're just going to change the vision up a little bit and make it work. But it's going to be really cool. I mean, I think who doesn't want like late night pizza at their wedding, or a bar that serves late night pizza at your wedding. I mean, that's pretty. I think I would want that.
I saw an article a while back about the next food truck trend was going to be alcohol.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a sense, that's what you're kind of doing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just go riding around a neighborhood and just like a
right. And I was wondering
like an ice cream truck or something, but
law-wise that worked out.
Well, it's just you have to be parked and you have to have the correct permitting from the liquor from ATAC and stuff, and then there's different ways to do it. If you sell the alcohol, you basically have to have a special event permit. If you're not selling the alcohol, it can be provided by the whoever is hiring you, and then if it's not charged, basically you just giving it away, then there's no liquor like license required or whatever.
So Jeremy, is Cellar salt now going to be available in stores because of the license that you now have? Is it? I know it's in some stores now because you do. Right. In order to do that, you have to be in a licensed commercial kitchen, which you are.
Right.
Is this going to be able to expand your sell of the salt?
Yes, absolutely. This was a big step for us, honestly, in that it not only allows us to sell the salt, the small, the retail package that we sell at the farmers market. It not only allows us to offer that to stores for resale on their shelves, but it also allows us to sell to restaurants for them to use in their food. And it incidentally makes it legal for the restaurant to purchase that from us because it's manufactured in a licensed facility.
See, that's another thing too. So many of the chefs here support each other and the farmers market, and they were using your salts in their dishes. I guess under the way the law was, they technically were not allowed to do that, but now they can.
Right. I mean, these are things that have increased in popularity greatly since, the local foods movement has sort of moved into Lafayette over the last, 5 to 10 years. And patrons and chefs alike are really a lot more interested in serving things that they can highlight from their own community.
Right.
And so, we operated for a long time, even when I was a chef at Village Cafe and other chefs around town as well. We operated for a long time under the understanding that, I bought it at the farmer's market. Now I'm going to take it back to my restaurant and sell it.
Right.
Well, it's like the whole farm to table idea. I mean, that's kind of it. Yeah.
Right. And, I've been told by health department sources that that's really intended only for produce.
Oh, and so like the meats and wow.
Well, and, there again, anything else is supposed to be manufactured in a licensed facility to be resold. And it all comes down to resale.
Right.
So if you're purchasing from someone with the intent to resell it, whether it be a retail package on a shelf in your store or whether it be an ingredient in a dish at a restaurant, that good should be manufactured in a licensed facility.
I think the best dish that I've had with your salt, Ashley Roussel did a dessert for me, and it was a cookie. I can't remember what the cookie was, but it was a banana ice cream, and the salt was drizzled on top of that. It was so good. Actually,
I think I ate that.
I think I did too.
At a Pig and Plow, we were gifted with some of the salt,
right,
and the Decou.
Right.
We put the salt on that too.
Yeah, that was great.
The salt sweet is phenomenal with your salt.
Yeah, it really does work well with desserts. It adds a nice texture too. I was really pleased that the gift bags made it to the guests before the dinner for that. That way everybody had their salt with them for
pretty cool,
for the
man.
dessert.
Yeah, and I didn't have that idea. Someone at the table was like, "Oh, let me try this." Actually, he was putting your salt on all the dishes. And then he did that one. He was like, "Oh my God." And then we all did it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so good."
Yeah, it works out really well. We when we first started making it, it was, I've used finishing salts and sea salts from all over the world before, and why not make one from the Gulf of Mexico from our own backyard? And now, it seems like not a week goes by where we find something new that flavor and that essence of the Gulf of Mexico doesn't really enhance.
What was the process like to harvest salts? And I mean, how long have you been thinking about this?
I've been thinking about it for a few years now. I did a runaway dish dinner with Ashley Roussel, I guess 2 or 3 years ago.
That was delicious, by the way.
Thank you. And so that dinner was all about sort of investigating or degustating certain habitats in our area. And so one of those habitats was the Gulf, and we made a salt from seawater that I had on hand from playing around with poaching and brining with seawater. And we just sort of threw some in a shallow pan in a dehydrator and ended up, making a salt. And that salt was great for that dinner because it tasted exactly of its place, and it really worked well for that. It wasn't really, however, what I would call a great salt.
Right.
Too many extra minerals, which made it taste like where it's from, but it also didn't lend itself to many more applications than just that dinner. And so it was a long process figuring out how to treat the water, but how to handle the water and how to dehydrate it, so to speak, in very specific ways that allowed us to sort of select that mineral flavor profile that we wanted.
It's fascinating. I feel like we could have a whole hour show on salt.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to come back and do a whole hour show on salt.
All right, we can do that.
We have about a minute left, and I want to really quickly promo the next Pig and Plow that's happening next month.
Mm-hmm.
You are one of the chefs, then the Haitian chef is joining you.
Yeah, I'm working with Katina Moussignac from Haiti.
I'm so excited because I get to interview her, and I just want to talk about Haitian food. I was setting up the interview with Tyler, and she was like, "Oh, well, do you want to, talk about Pig and Plow?" And I was like, "Of course," but really, I want to talk about Haitian food. Like, I really, have you got to have a lot of conversations with her? Or?
Not many, but the menu's gonna be really interesting. I was talking to her about it yesterday, and so essentially, the Creole aspects of our cuisine here in South Louisiana are based on a lot of those, island cuisines, African cuisine, sort of all coming together mainly in New Orleans, and developing in this environment next to each other.
Right.
And so we plan on taking what might be a few traditional Haitian dishes and then seeing also their counterparts in Louisiana Creole cuisine.
I can't wait for that dinner. All right.
That's gonna be awesome.
All right, we got to go. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
That's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This has been Tiffiany Decou on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, and this has been the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy eating, Acadiana.